All right, friends, let's go ahead and get started with this inspirational monoprint of a landscape inspired by our friends Currier and Ives. I'm super excited to do this one because we're using some different materials than we normally do. First, we're going to need a piece of tin foil. This is just regular tin foil. What I did is I took just a regular piece of paper. This is printer paper. You can use paper out of your sketchbook. And what I did is I actually laid it on top of my tin foil to start, and I curved it over the sides. So I had the size of my paper so that I knew what size I needed to do, and I didn't do any important details outside of that size. All right, so that would be my first tip for you, is just kind of curve these up and make a crease to show your paper size. All right, and then we're going to have some fun here. The first thing we need to do is kind of sketch out almost our landscape. We're not going to use a pencil for that. We're actually going to use our paintbrush. Not the side with the fun bristles that we normally use. We're using the other side, okay? So you can use this side and you can actually draw on your details. It's going to push into your tin foil and make a recessed line or an engraving almost. All right, so you can start by doing your horizon line wherever you want that to go. You see it draws my line right on in there. Maybe I go ahead and put some mountains in here. You see, I'm not pushing too hard so that it is going to break through, but I'm pushing just hard enough. I'm actually using our masterpiece as inspiration here for the layout of mine. I'm going to draw maybe a river winding through here like this, but I want to go ahead and make sure that I get it looking in multiple dimensions there. Okay, you guys can see how all of a sudden we're creating this dynamic image. All right, I can, in our original masterpiece, there's a train traveling on this one. I can go ahead and decide to put that in or not, but maybe I want to do, maybe I'll make it a little bit more simple and do like a tree in the foreground, nice and big. That's one way, and you can do as many details as you want. It's up to you. So maybe I'll do a tree here, and then I'll show maybe some littler bushes. You don't want to add too many details, but it's more where we're hoping to kind of see where we're going to put our different colors of our paint. And then you actually should be able to see some of these lines when we do our print. Okay. Some of the things I encourage you to think about is, I'll do some smaller trees back here. Why not? We'll see what that looks like. One of the things I encourage you whenever we're doing our painting is, remember, you need to work fast. We want it to stay wet, so that means you're going to put the paint on as fast as you can. And then we're going to print it, okay? If it feels like it's starting to dry, you can spray it with some water. You can use a spray bottle if you have it. You can even start by kind of spritzing it a little bit. The important part is, though, that we don't want it soupy. So you don't want so much water that it's going to just bleed all over the place, okay? So we want it still thick enough, okay? So, once again, you can even just go ahead and put just a little bit of water on it just to kind of help you out, okay? And then once again, we want to work quick. We want to keep an eye on how long it takes us to put that paint on, and you're just going to put the paint on there in different areas. Remember, you just drew it out. Even how you put your paint on, the different strokes you use, could make an impact on what it looks like for your print. That's one of those fun things that we get to practice and we get to try here, is kind of how that works out. I'm just going to add some different colors in here. I'm just mixing it directly on my palette. I could even imagine, maybe we'll see if those show up. Maybe my paint marks are gonna show up on that one. Okay, remember, work quick, do the best you can, keep that water on there. Okay, I'm gonna get some mountains on here. I'm just adding some different colors to kind of help them stand out. And then hopefully you'll be able to see the different variety in here based on how I put my different, you guys can see I'm just putting a whole bunch of different colors because you know what? I want more of a brown color on this than green or red. So I'm just mixing it right on the paper here, or the tin foil. Okay. You guys can see it's making funny marks. That's happened to me before with some of my painting with this paint. It does funny things sometimes, and that's okay. So you guys can see how quick I'm working. I'm just gonna keep going, keep pushing on, trying to fill all those spots that I want. I want to take some of that color and I'm gonna bring it over here so that it goes together. Just like that. All right, I can get my trees in here. Maybe I add some red in there to make it darker. Once again, you can see my strokes are going to help show that that is a tree, not just those little strokes of where I put stuff before. Maybe I'll add a lot more yellow, make these nice and bright up here. All right, so I'm keeping an eye on things, making sure that it's not drying too fast. I have one more spot, that river or that water. I want to make sure that I get that in there, and then I'll be ready to pull my print. Notice how I said that. Pull my print. That is the term for when you are printmaking. You're not just copying a print, because you'll see in our actual process, we are pulling it off the page. All right, before it dries, make sure you grab your piece of paper and gently lay it on top. Try not to let it smudge around, but give it a nice press all the way onto the corners. You might get paint on your fingers and your hands, and that's okay. And this is the process of making a monoprint. Now, you'll be able to do multiple prints if you want, but here is where we pull our print. You're going to carefully lift it all the way up. You guys can see already there's a tree. There's, oh, we did see my clouds. There's my mountains and my river. And what we have is a print. How cool is that, friends? Make sure you lay this flat so that it dries. But isn't that so amazing? You can clearly see my landscape with bushes, trees, the prairie land, whatever you want to call it, whatever kind of frontier we have here. Our river, our mountains are even there. Does you see those lines in between them? And then our sky, and even my clouds that I used with my brush stroke is in there. How amazing is that? So lay that somewhere where it can dry. I'm going to go ahead and move my tin foil and leave this here so you guys can see my print. You are also welcome to do another one. You can print, or you can paint right over your print that you just did on your tin foil and pull another print if you want to change colors or adjust things. How fun is that, friends? I hope you enjoyed it. Magical, amazing monoprint landscape inspired by Currier and Ives. Have fun, everyone.